Hey besties, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I heard that Taylor Swift is coming out with a new album called The Life of a Showgirl. I thought it would be cool if we could guess what the songs would be about just by the title and then see if we are right when the album comes out. I also wanted to tell you guys that the last part of Folklore and part 1 of the Long Pond sessions will be out today on Friday, hopefully by the evening. So please stay tuned for that. But until then, I thought it would be fun to do this little album deciphering game. So let's just jump into it. Obviously, the album is called The Life of a Showgirl. She has 12 songs. The first one is The Fate of Ophelia. The second is Elizabeth Taylor. The third one is called Opalite. I hope I'm saying that right. The fourth one is called Father Figure. The fifth is called Eldest Daughter. The sixth is called Ruin the Friendship. The sixth one is called Ruin the Friendship. The seventh is Actually Romantic. Number 8 is Wishlist. Number 9, Wood. Number 10, Cancelled. Number 11, Honey. And number 12, The Life of a Showgirl. And it's featuring Sabrina Carpenter, which I'm very excited about. Okay, the first one is called The Fate of Ophelia. I had to look up the name Ophelia, and right now it seems like she's talking about a character in Hamlet by William Shakespeare. And Hamlet is my ish. Guys, I studied William Shakespeare for fun in my free time. So I think I have a lot to say about this. To give you some context, the way I would describe Ophelia is that she is young, she is gentle. So in Hamlet, Ophelia is caught between the love she has for Hamlet, but also the loyalty she has towards her father. And long story short, this girl is pushed and pulled, and she goes mad. And then she ends up drowning in the river. In Hamlet, she is basically known for the drowning. But her story is about being silent and controlled until she loses herself completely. Or she could be leaning more into the drowning of Ophelia, and that's why it says The Fate of Ophelia, and that's why she's in water on the album cover right here. So I think she'll either touch on being trapped by fame, relationships, or life pressures, or she'll do both drowning imagery and use it as a way to represent overwhelming emotions. And since Ophelia was mostly controlled, she didn't get to be herself, live her life how she wanted. I think Taylor could be leaning towards also giving her a voice where she didn't have one. So some of the symbolism I think she would use in the song is water, which could represent emotions. She could use drowning as well and use that as pressure of fame and expectations. She could also use drowning, which could be the pressures of fame or expectations, and she's talking about drowning in those expectations. And of course, another symbol would be Ophelia. And to sum up Ophelia, she is just a misunderstood woman. So I think that's some of the things that she could possibly touch on. And I think that's why she is in water on her album cover right here. She could feel like she's submerged or drowning in expectations, fame, people around her, etc. Let's move on to the next one. Number 2 is called Elizabeth Taylor. I feel like everyone knows who Elizabeth Taylor is. She is an iconic actress. I looked into Elizabeth Taylor a little bit when I seen this title, and Elizabeth Taylor was known for glamour, beauty, and for having a complicated love life. She got married 8 times to 7 men. She got married to Richard Burton twice. We know that Taylor Swift talked about Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in one of her songs. I can't remember which one, but Elizabeth Taylor's relationships were always chaotic and in the public eye. So I think maybe Taylor will touch on balancing glamour and loneliness, also the thrill and heartbreak of a relationship that's constantly in the public eye, or even the tension between public image and private emotion. Some symbolisms I think she could use for this song would be jewels, since Elizabeth Taylor was known for her glamour, and I think that's why she has like jewels in this cover right here. She could use jewels to represent public image. I think she could also use mirrors, since Elizabeth Taylor was also known for her beauty, and she could use that as self-reflection. And I also think she could use the word rings for symbolism to reference how many times Elizabeth Taylor got married, and she could use that to represent love and longing, or to show a pattern in love itself. But if you guys know anything about Elizabeth Taylor, I would be interested to hear what part of Elizabeth Taylor could you relate to. But let's get to number 3, Opalite. Okay, the third one is called Opalite, and I did a little bit of research on Opalite. Opalite is a shimmering stone, but the thing about Opalite is that it's man-made. Opalite is a man-made glass with shifting colors. And when I was doing my research on Opalite, I seen that it is used to bring emotional clarity and to help you communicate your feelings honestly. Also, the most beautiful thing about Opalite is that it reflects light, and at the same time, it's fragile. And when I seen that, that automatically made me think of her song Mirror Ball. I think if she uses this metaphor, it could be about a relationship that helped her see herself more clearly, or realizing something beautiful could also be breakable. But if she does that, we're inching way too close to Mirror Ball. She could also be playing with the idea that Opalite is fake, since it's man-made and not a natural stone. So I think she could use that to talk about a love that she thought was real but wasn't. Some symbolism I think she could use for this song, and I think she could use that to talk about emotional transparency. She could also use the word iridescence, and I think she could use that word to talk about layered or complex love. But let's get to the next one. Number 4 is father figure. When I see it like this, for some reason, I'm not thinking about an actual father. I'm thinking about someone who is a protector, someone who has authority, someone you want approval from. But of course, those roles can be twisted. Could also mean mentorship or comfort, or it can also mean control and dependence. But also, I have heard her sing songs about her mom, but I don't think I've heard her sing songs about her father. So maybe the song could be about her actual dad. but I'm thinking about what else it could possibly mean. She could be playing with the power dynamic here and talk about the thrill of being guided by someone older, or she could talk about when the authority starts putting you in a cage, like a relationship that's part warm and part warning sign. So, some symbolism for father figure that also ties into the life of a showgirl title she has. I think she could use the word spotlight as symbolism, and I think that could mean approval and or guidance. I think she could also use the word shadows, meaning hidden motives. But guys, let me know what you think the song would be about. Do you think it would be a safe or dangerous song? Let me know. Okay, number 5 is Eldest Daughter. For some reason, these two words feel really heavy to me. I think it could be about being the one that everyone looks up to, whether you're ready or not to have that pressure. When I think of eldest daughter, I think of being the example, the caretaker, the one that has to keep herself together and could never fall apart. I think she could use that to talk about being the eldest daughter of maybe artist, like breaking ground, carrying the expectations, and maybe feeling like there's no room to be messy or human. Let me know what you guys think about me pointing out symbolisms and things like that in music. Let me know, because I really enjoy doing that ever since I started studying poetry. It's like a puzzle to me. So some symbolism I think she could use in this song, maybe golden hour, and I think she could use that to represent nostalgia or youth, being young. I think she could also use the word spotlight or stage light, and she could use that to mean having her life on display. I think she could also reference maybe a stage or an empty stage, meaning like carrying the show alone. So let me know what you guys think this song would be about, and let me know, and if there are any eldest daughters out there, let me know if you feel proud of the role or trapped by it. I'm the eldest daughter, and I feel trapped by mine all the time. I feel like I'm just not a good example sometimes. My middle sister in the family, like, she is so perfect, and I feel like that should be her role. But let's get to number 6, and that is called Ruin the Friendship. I've seen some people thinking the song could be about her and Blake Lively and that drama going on. I need to look into that drama because I don't really know much about it. If you know anything about that drama, please fill me in, because I'm very confused. To me, since Taylor is in a relationship, I think this song could be about friends crossing over to something more than friends. And when you cross over, knowing that things will never go back to the way they used to be once you cross that line. I think Taylor might make the song bittersweet. I think she'll touch on the rush of intimacy she feels, but also the ache, knowing that she can never go back because everything is changed now because you cross that line. I think she'll talk about a love story that's worth the risk of crossing that line. Some symbolism I think she could use in the song is maybe the word rain, and I think she could use that as grief. I think she could also talk about faded colors and use that to represent emotional shift. I also think she could use the word silhouettes or silhouettes separating, something like that. And I think she could use that to represent inevitable change. I also want you guys to keep in mind that the symbols I'm coming up with could also work with the showgirl type of theme. So that's what I think about this song, Ruin the Friendship. But let me know what you guys think this song will be about. Do you think it will be about her and Blake Lively? Also, let me know if you would ruin the friendship for love, because I don't think I would, to be honest. Let's move on to the next one. Number 7 is actually romantic. When I see these words, I think maybe Taylor Swift will be challenging what the word romantic really is. We know from her past songs that she views romance as something that's not always sunshine, roses, candlelight. She views romance as something that can be messy as well. It can be messy, inconvenient, raw. So I think the song could be about Taylor's rebellion against the performative side of love. Some symbolism I think she could use here is unpolished moments, which could represent the truth about love and not the fantasy. She could use late night lighting to represent intimacy beyond the public view. She could use lights fading in and out to represent fleeting but real moments of connection. I think she'll use the word messy somehow and use it to represent comfort over perfection. But let me know what you guys think. The next one is Wishlist. Right off the bat, the word wishlist seems dreamy, but I noticed that she uses dollar signs for both of the S's in these two words. And to me, that instantly changes the tone. So I think the song will be about the cost of desire. I think it will talk about how everything you want, whether it's love, freedom, or validation, it comes with a price. I also think she might poke fun at the materialistic or transactional side of relationships. So I'm imagining lyrics that could blur the lines between a romantic wish list or a literal shopping spree, like pairing expensive symbols with emotional needs, making us question what we truly value. But I definitely think the $2 signs are some type of hidden clue. Some symbolic words I think she will use is dollar signs, of course, and I think she'll use that to represent the transactional nature of desire. She could also use the word gold or coins, something like that. And I think she will use that to represent temptation or materialism. I think she would also use the word list. And I think she would use that to represent the duality of material wants and emotional needs. I also think she would use crossed out items, like how you cross out items on the list. And I think she would use that to represent satisfaction. But let me know, of course, what you guys think this song will be about. Okay, the next one is wood. When I think about wood, I automatically think about trees. And I think about when you cut a tree in half, the rings in the tree represent history, like marking every year, every season. There's also a lot of things you can do with trees. You can carve them, burn them, chop them. But I think she would use the word wood maybe to represent time, the fact that she's still standing, things like that. But I think some symbols she could use in the song is, so I think some symbols she could use in this song is maybe the word rings. She could use that to represent the years that went by. She's still standing, something like that. I think she could also use the word weather or weathering. And I think she'll use that to represent her survival through hard times and trials and tribulations, things like that. I also think she could use the word sunlight, and I think she would use that to represent strength. But again, let me know what you guys think. I also think about someone like carving their name into wood. Like back in the day, I used to see like people carving their initials with their boyfriend's initials. Like they put their initials plus and then their boyfriend's initials. So I think she would talk about that some type of way. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is canceled. And canceled is in big bold letters with an exclamation point. When I see that exclamation point, it makes it seem loud, assertive, maybe even aggressive. What would be obvious to me is maybe she's canceling a toxic person, maybe even a past version of herself, or even canceling how she's publicly viewed. The exclamation point gives a sense of finality to me. It's like she's drawing a hard line in the sand. But this song could also be ironic and playful. Maybe she is mocking the drama behind cancel culture and reclaiming her power at the same time. But this feels immediate. It's in your face and demanding attention, since it's all capitalized with that exclamation point. Some symbols I think she could use in the song, maybe all caps or capital letters or exclamation points. And she could use that to represent forceful and a no-nonsense decision. I also think she could use the word glitch or maybe colors like red or black and use that to represent chaos or rebellion. You could also use the word X and use it to represent rejection or an ending of something. The next one is honey. When I see this word, I just think about something warm and golden and sweet, but that's the obvious. But honey is also sticky. And I think maybe she could touch on the way love or desire sticks to you. Another thing about honey is that it ages really, really slowly. I remember I had this container of honey and the expiration date was so far away. I couldn't believe it. So maybe the song Honey could be about something Taylor is trying to preserve, whether that's a past love or connection. So she could use that word to symbolize something precious and permanent in her memory. I think the song might even explore the idea of time and patience. The lyrics could be about letting something unfold naturally and savoring what's there. The symbols I think she will use is, of course, the word honey, and she'll use that to represent a preserved memory or like sweetness that deepens over time, something like that. I think she could also use the word slow to represent the patience of growth and reflection. I think she will also use the word golden, and she will use that to represent maybe like a warm memory or to represent richness of emotion, something like that. I also think she could use the word preserve or preserved and use it to represent nostalgia or holding on to what matters. But let me know a few words you think of when you think of honey, and let me know what you think this song will be about. Okay, this is the last and final one, The Life of a Showgirl. This title is also the title of her album. So to me, it feels like she's revealing something big with this song. I pictured Taylor pulling back the curtain on everything. This makes me think of performance and glamour. There's more to being a showgirl than the fancy clothes, the sequins, the lights. This could be about the emotional cost of fame, like the hours you spend smiling when you're tired, hiding doubts behind sparkle, and constantly performing roles that everyone expects of you. But there's also power in the word showgirl. I think about the artistry and dazzling the world, but still holding on to your own story beneath it all. I think she'll use lyrics that hint at being vulnerable and the struggle to remain authentic under all the lights. Some symbols I think she will use is the word curtain. And I think she will use that to represent the boundary of her public persona and who she is in private. I think she'll use the word spotlight to represent scrutiny, admiration, and exposure. I also think she'll use the word glitter or confetti, something like that, to represent beauty and applause. I think she could also use the word seats or empty seats, something like that. And I think she'll use that to represent solitude behind the spectacle. Let me know if you guys think this song will celebrate the glamour of life or revealing the cost behind it. But thank you guys for hanging out with me while I yap about what I think these songs will be about. Please let me know what you think they will be about. And I will see you besties in the next one. I am uploading the last part of Folklore on Friday. Hopefully it'll be up by the evening. I am also uploading part 1 of the Long Pond sessions today as well. Okay, besties, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.